Yo, I wanted to leave this alone, and honestly, I was gonna let all these other cats talk about it, like the pro-blacks or the people who talk about political issues concerning black society. And I just couldn't help it. I had to put my own spin onto it. There's this Asian chick named Veronica Wu. She was talking reckless about black society, talking about how black people are lazy. That's the reason why there are many of them in the tech industry and stuff like that. And then racism is not the problem. And she tried to say that blacks are the real racists. And we're just stirring up everything, trying to make everything socialism or communism, which is wow. I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised because, I'm hip to the game on how some of these Asians, not all, but enough of them, how they feel about black people. And then, before I heard, she's apparently like an immigrant. So, it makes sense why she would say something like that. Because a lot of these immigrants, man, when they come down here in America, they get around Zaddy. They get around the dominant society. And then they be listening to all kinds of anti-blackness. They get hit with all this anti-black propaganda from them, and then they start looking at us through the lens of the mayonnaise mafioso. And this is what I was saying, talking about anti-black propaganda, talking about the negative images and stuff. This is what I was talking about, because this stuff gets spreaded worldwide, not just in this country. These other groups, they get hit with that, and they fall for the okie doke, thinking that black folks are a certain way, and then they start having the same damn attitude as these mayonnaise mafioso, the same attitude as the so-called dominant society. Man, I'm not surprised. Some of these Asian cats, bro, they get around the dominant society. They be talking greasy about black folks anyway. Some of them, I mean, a good deal of them, enough of them, they already talk greasy about us. When they get around Zaddy, because I already know. I'll be hearing how, they get around Zaddy in these white collar jobs, in these little tech jobs, or just in their social circles, and they be talking real greasy about black folks, especially when they're around them. And she probably hugged up under a Zaddy. And I watched Hardy Superboy video about it, and he called something out that I buzzed out loud, because some of these cats, they be thinking, cause oh, look at me, I slept with a white man, I married and had kids with a white man, we have half Asian, half white babies, and they think they in because of that. Like, no, man, you just a damn fetish, you damn Asian doll. And he probably getting with you because of the images on Hollywood and on TV. These stereotypical image of you being, this submissive, and probably because of anime too. Shit, this is what I'm damn talking about. This is why I made that video called "That's a Method to My Madness." This is why I talk about these issues, to combat them, to say, yo, this is not necessarily the case, and to push back. And I'm not just complaining, I'm actually going to do something about it. It's going to take a little time, but I'm actually going to put in some type of work. I got to give a shout out to my SYSBM bros and Thinking Black Man, Traveling Bros, but, you guys can't be thinking that every single person is on your team. You're going to have to watch out for certain people. You're going to have to vet who you're around. Because not every single person is going to be on your team, and this may be the reason why. And then, he's a damn immigrant. So, This is the problem I have with immigrants. They come down to this country, don't know the lick of history. They just think America is a certain way. They fall for the okie doke of American being that place. They fall for the okie doke because America is not what it's all made out to be. It's really not. They come here thinking that white folk ain't the problem, and it's black folk the problem. And someone actually think we're the real racists just because we push back against this shit, and we always talking about it. She was talking about how we keep on talking about it. It's gonna stir things up. What you want us to do? Just suffer in silence? Just keep our mouth closed and our head down, just like y'all? No. That's the problem, man. These immigrants, they don't know the dynamics in this country. She's an immigrant. She's not even first generation. She's an immigrant. Even first generation. The second generation. They're just as ignorant. But obviously, she's been hanging around the Miracle Whip society. This is not surprising, man. They think the Mighty Morphin Mayonnaise Rangers ISIS coder. And this is the thing. I'm starting to believe it. This is this thing that people are saying, that when these immigrants come down here, the people, they tell them that, stay away from black people. They sell them anti-black propaganda to get them to stay away from black. And I'm starting to believe that shit. Low key, I'm starting to believe that shit. And I gotta give a shout out to Hardcore Tito, because he mentioned this on one of his videos on Patreon. Excuse me. He talked the purpose of the black man, and he talked about all the anti-black propaganda. I'm not gonna spoil it for you because I want y'all to go support him on Patreon. But he talked about the fact that Mr. Clean knew that black men was going to eventually get tired of the rat race and leave Babylon and go somewhere else, So basically, he beat us to the pot by selling anti-black propaganda and just making it worldwide so that other people can see it. And whenever you decide to leave the rat race, decide to leave Apocalypse, aka Darkseid's planet, you decide to leave planet Apocalypse, aka America, and go somewhere else. Now some of them people are acting like they don't want you there because of that propaganda. And this is what I was talking about, how you gotta jump through so many hoops. You gotta do so many things above and beyond to prove that you're not that type of black person, to get their acceptance, approval. But you got to be the front line black man. Shout out to Chris O. The front line black men. And I'm saying, instead of doing all that, why don't we try to put something together, come up with ways to control the narrative, so we won't have to go through that in the first place. This is what I was saying. I think some guys misconstrued what I was saying. Like, that is shit, man. That I have to, as a black man, I have to put in so much work compared to Mr. Clean or any other dude to prove that I'm a solid guy. But that's some bullshit. Fuck that shit. Who the fuck are these people that I have to prove myself to them? What happened to judge based on the content of my character instead of the color of my skin? That's some bullshit. If I ever get in that situation, it's like, keep your acceptance and shut up your ass. It's like, oh, this guy's a black man. The stigma of a black man. You think I'm a certain way, but once you get to know me, you realize I'm a good guy and you like me, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna shove my middle finger up at this motherfucker. And the rest of you people, fuck you, and fuck y'all. Y'all can kiss my black ass. Fuck that. Think about it. Like, when you think about dysfunctional people, you ain't even thinking about the Miracle Whip folk. Thinking about black folk. Even though, yeah, there's a lot of dysfunctional folks in black society, but really, we're not as dysfunctional as Miracle Whip. If you look at history, like, they don't kill like millions of people. They don't kill a lot of black folk. They don't kill even some of the Mexicans. And they don't colonize and kill a lot of people in Asian society. Millions of them. And then down. You say this, they act like they don't care. Cause they still love their dirty job. Like some of these Asian folks, bro. I'm not saying all, but a good deal of them, bro. They will lick the mayonnaise out of these people's asshole, bro. They'll lick the mayonnaise between the toes of these people, like straight up toe jam. But in the media, it'll get you thinking that we're the most fucked up people on the planet. This dude can do mass shootings and shit, but they'll still have you thinking that, what about Chicago though, as if all black people are responsible for what goes on in Chicago, and as if all those crimes are being committed by blacks in Chicago. Which that's bullshit. Cause a good portion of them crimes is being committed by Hispanics. I think Mr. Hard Cartito called that out, pointed that out. Some owned by Asians and whites too. But the narrative is black people. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't control the narrative. I mean, we can push back a little bit, but we can only go so far with the pushback because of social media like YouTube and shit. But the algorithm, you gotta deal with the algorithm, or YouTube messing with your channels and shit, messing with the views, not getting your videos out there like that. It's a whole lot of nonsense you gotta watch out for, which puts you at a disadvantage, because you want to get yourself to the point where people worldwide are seeing your content of you pushing back. This is why I was talking about how we need to try to control the narrative. It's not about trying to worry about every black individual doing something. It's about trying to control the narrative. Look at China. They controlling the narrative. They won't even allow people to blame the coronavirus on them. That's how much they control their narrative. Even though the coronavirus, it came from China. It's not disparage hate, but it is what it is. It came from there. And people mention this, but Biden actually said something about how he was talking to those so-called black leaders that it's not just black and white anymore. You're going to have to watch out for, basically, for the Hispanics. And really just the Asians too. Because they're becoming a buffer cast. So he actually trying to warn black folks. He's not giving us anything. He's not giving black people anything. I mean, at least he's trying to warn them what's to come. Yo, we're going to have to watch out not only for white folk, but other people as well. And this situation just proved what he was saying. But this is it. This is all I wanted to say. I just wanted to get my own spin off this situation. Like, this shit is full of it. It's just a damn immigrant who doesn't know shit. Ignorant shit. Talking about black people are lazy. One, I mean, that situation can be explained in so many different ways. Like, one, like the whole tech thing, it's not really black people's first choice like that. It's not that they're lazy. It's not that black folks are lazy. It's just not a lot of black people's first choice. A lot of black people, especially black men, tend to want to work with their hands. We tend to get a trade job because a lot of black people don't want to get in debt. Especially black men don't want to get in debt. Get these damn jobs just to get in debt, and a lot of black men have issues in some of these like white collar jobs too. They had to go through like a lot of racism and a lot of bullshit, and there's a lot of discrimination. And it's not like the people who's put in charge. It's not like they're gonna just hire or put black people on at a high number. Like they'll only let a select few of black people in that shit. She ain't gonna talk about how cats out here trying to prevent black people from getting in these high schools like Yale and shit. Talking about get rid of affirmative action, and the only reason why they in there because of affirmative action. Even if you want to argue against that, hold up. I'm gonna say this first. Like affirmative action is supposed to be there. It's a reason why it's there. So cause people are not hiring people, want to discriminate, but not hiring. And then even if you want to make that argument, damn, people still have to meet academics just to get in the door in the first place. So when you pull yourself by the bootstrap, it's like people still don't want you there. It's like people still don't want you in certain positions, even when you pull yourself by the bootstraps. Like, what? Either you pull yourself by the bootstraps or not. Like, what do you want? And what she's not gonna say how, like, especially some of these Asians out here, they trying to take spots from black people. They're trying to prevent black folk from getting in these schools, so they might get them a tech job or something like that. This is nonsense. This is it. I just want to get my whole spin on the situation.